it helps customers eliminate complexity, reduce cost, and become much more predictable with blueprints.
Perfect. We're going to do that. And you guys can see it on this PC that I have right here. So we're going to log into this Workspace Services Design and Automation interface. And when we do, we're going to go in and we're going to look at this. And you know what? I think the key word here is blueprint, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to create a blueprint of the design. Now you guys know when you got a house and you want to build your house, you have a blueprint created and all the details are in there. So when someone drives by your house and they love your house, right? They go, hey, I want your blueprint because I want that house too. Well, we can do that here now, right? The blueprint is defined. We can share blueprints amongst people and when you take it, right? That's this first box you see here, the design. So you go into the design and you design all the specifics of the infrastructure. And the next step is then deploy. Okay, so we're going to go and look at deploy here in a second. And after that, then you manage it once it's up and running. And the key to the management part isn't just monitoring it, right? It's knowing what's happening and taking corrective action. So you'll find that it's self-healing and self-scaling. Those are the value adds in the back end, right?
But all done in 3 simple steps.
3 simple steps, browser-based, service, right? Design we have in this case is done, we're going to do the deploy. When I go into deploy here, you're going to see that we've got some blueprints done already, right? Those designs are set up for us. So we've got Zen Desktop in different versions, we got Zen App and Zen Mobile. I'm going to pop into this blueprint right here, Zen Desktop 7.5. Now look at all these details that come up. It tells you how the design was taking place for this particular blueprint, right? Now look, it's kind of hard to read there, it's small print, but it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these steps that are going to occur as we execute this blueprint. Now the first part is the pre-deployment checks. It goes in to make sure you've got an Active Directory set up that you're going to integrate in with for your authentication, of course. And that there's a SQL server there, okay? Various steps. And then number 2 is what it's going to start to do to install this Zen Desktop environment. So the desktop delivery controller, of course, has to be installed, and then we've got Director and Studio and the license server. So how many times have you installed these, right? Many times. Every time we set up the environment, we install these over and over, and we do it fresh each time, and it's different environment and so forth, and we have to start from scratch. So there's a lot of details there. You know, we can do it, but in this case, it wraps everything up in this blueprint and executes it for you. Now there's all the other steps that have to occur as well, configuring the database and creating machine catalogs, you can see, getting the storefront configured and so on. It's going to manage all that for you, and it's all defined in the design, all that work. And again, if you love this and your house looks beautiful, share your blueprint. I think that's the key.
Exactly. Sharing your blueprints, growing a set of blueprints that can be leveraged by customers, partners, consultants to rapidly, effectively, and cost efficiently create solutions for customers.
So you can create your own, but you can also leverage existing blueprints.
Yeah, and the next step here takes a look inside the blueprint a little bit more. So it shows you how it's all stacked up. We've got controllers on the bottom, licensing servers. We've got certainly Director and Studio in here. Machine catalogs are all set up. You can't do this without a storefront, so it's kind of laying it out for you. Right now it's time to go. So what we're going to do now is decide the location. So here, this is key, right? Where do you want to put this? So we've defined it, we know what it is, where do you want to put it? We can put it anywhere. So do you want to put it local on a local presence on your local hypervisors and infrastructure? Do you want to put it in the cloud somewhere? And you can see the examples. We've got Citrix Cloud Platform as a choice, vSphere, we've got Amazon, Azure. Well, you know what, in this case, we're going to go ahead and pick Cloud Platform.
Why would you want to use vSphere for anything, right?
Well, you know, it's a choice. We certainly want to give the world choices.
Don't worry, there's still help on the horizon.
Yeah. Thanks. Hey, you know what? This particular deployment is going to be a proof of concept. We're going to try this out first. And so you can see those numbers in there, right? 1 to 3. So how many controllers and storefronts do I need? 1, but why is there a min and a max? Because it's auto scaling, remember? Right? So if I say, look, I got 10 folks using this POC, I start with 1, but if 100 pile in, it'll automatically sense that and fire off a couple of more controllers and storefronts, right? And so that's great. Now I want to cap it at 3 because we don't want the POC going out of control. But there we go. So now we go over to here and we have all of the IP addresses and the host names and so forth associated with the infrastructure that it's going to tie into, the Active Directory, and then how we're going to click and get into this later on. And from here we just go next and it's ready to go.
So that, I want to emphasize the point here. It's not just about setting up things like auto directories and such. It can set up network equipment. It can set up pretty much anything that we want. Anything that can be automated can be automated with this. So you can have an incredibly intricate blueprint, for instance, you bring in SDN controllers into the mix, network elements into the mix. You can set up configuration and templates, and the tool will do the rest, so to speak. What's more important here is that as we do the deployments, you can actually validate network configuration consistencies, deployment consistencies, and such, which is where a lot of times we make mistakes in setting things up, which is what drives the complexity and obviously the cost, because you're fixing all those problems. All of those can be essentially eliminated through this capability.
Right.
So it's massively scalable in that sense, going back to the notion of ageless architectures.
That's like when you're building your house and you have a blueprint and you go, oh, I got to change that. You go back to your erase and you make some changes and fix it. You make your blueprint even better and more accurate every time you execute.
Exactly.
Right? And then again, continue to share. Now, when I click deploy, it goes off and it starts doing this. So it's actively integrating into Active Directory, connecting into SQL services. It's going to go doing the install and all that work that's happening in the background. So now what I can do is go and monitor this. So if I click in to a deployment that's already occurred, you can go in here, and like I said, you can go and see all the different back-end services that are there, CPU utilization, memory, and disk space, and all the obvious things. But what's more important here really is that in the background, it's monitoring this constantly. And it's dealing with the auto-healing. If something breaks, it's going to go ahead and detect that and then route around that, and it does the auto-scaling as well, so you're cloudifying this whole infrastructure.
That's fantastic, Grant. Thanks a lot. How does that sound to everyone in terms of being able to leverage? I'm personally super excited about these capabilities because it's not just about a set of products that we deliver to customers. It is also managing and helping them through the entire life cycle such that they can have great experiences in the fastest possible time. Now, speaking of experiences, our HDX capabilities are super critical